Some people are saying that UFC 270 should have been called UFC 211 because it was full of robberies. But I'm not gonna focus on that today. The moment it hits Wikipedia, it's official. We could sit here and talk about robberies all day, but at some point, we gotta realize that the UFC is dirtier than Valerie Loreda's inbox. The simple fact is that Francis Ngannou is still the champion, and Dana White is still missing. That's awesome. Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Jesse and I'm the founder and grandmaster of MMA, Mexican martial arts. And I'm feeling pretty good right now because not only is Magic Spoon sponsoring this video, they also sponsored my breakfast. More on that later. Francis Ngannou did not make a lot of good decisions before this fight. The whole reason we even cared about it was because of the friendship drama. And then he said they weren't even friends.
You hurt me.
And then we were like, well, all right, at least they were teammates. And there's still some kind of drama there. But then he was like, we weren't even teammates.
You hurt me.
But he did offer some new information. He said that he had knocked out Ciryl Gane with the head kick. And we were like, that's what's up. But then he said he did it on accident. You hurt me. He was already in a bad position with the UFC and that fool couldn't stop digging holes for himself. But I can't fully blame him because supposedly it's that muscle memory. He was trying to tell Dana White, you never give me your money. But you kept saying too much, Ngannou. And in the middle of negotiations, you break down. People were having a hard time caring about this fight. And it's weird because this was like the war of the gargantuas. Those fools were making Dana White look like Matt Serra. And then Dana got caught gazing until he remembered that there was a camera right there. And it's not exactly relevant, but I wanted to talk about it. At the end of the day, everything about the narrative leading up to the fight made Ngannou look bad. Dana didn't care enough about him to pay him what he was worth. He ruined the storyline, which caused the drama to fade. ESPN raised the pay-per-view prices and a lot of people weren't gonna pay for that. He was too focused on trying to fight Tyson Fury. He had lost so much respect from the general public that even reporters were disrespecting him.
MMA Factory, you brainwashed that out of your system? MMA Factory does not exist anymore?
He was the underdog. But when the fight started, we could see why. For the first couple rounds, Ngannou was looking like no manos. He was swinging like if he was Sean O'Malley, but nothing was landing. The only time Gane felt that right hand was when Ngannou was trying to get that copay. But he knew that Ngannou was about as much of a doctor as Dana White.
I'm not a doctor.
So he wasn't about to bend the knee. Francis, however, seemed to have no control over his knees. He came into the fight with knee pads, which we learned after the fight were due to some injuries. That supposedly he had a torn MCL, a damaged ACL, a damaged MPFL, and an ingrown hair. This took a lot of movement out of his knees. And he was looking even more flat-footed than usual. And he struggled to keep up with Gane's aerobics. He was breathing heavy and he was discouraged. This went on for 2 rounds and Scott Coker was already getting the paperwork ready for Ngannou. But he was gonna have to tear it up because that's what Ngannou did in round 3. Everything turned around with that body slam. And a lot of people weren't putting respect on those cat-like reflections. That fool would have made Derek Lewis end up on his own Instagram page. But Ngannou slipped it with the quickness. And then he slipped right into that side control. A lot of people are saying Ngannou didn't do nothing on the ground. He just laid on top of him. That's disrespectful. Remember, Ciryl Gane was my pick. But I'm an MMA truther. And the truth is that Ngannou leveled up his attributes. He went from the slam right into the side control. He trapped Gane's hand so that he couldn't post up. He put the squeeze on to drain some of Gane's energy. When Gane tried to post up on the other side, he neutralized it. Stepped over into the mount. When Ciryl tried to get up, he transitioned to the back. Landed shots. Put the hook in. Found the guillotine. That fool was doing more groundwork than my Tio Beto. And then when he finally let him back up, it was only so that he could put him back down. He hit him up with the modified Uchimata and Ciryl crashed to the ground. But you don't have to crash with Ciryl. Not if you got Magic Spoon. It has 0 grams. That can't be right. It is. It has 0 grams of sugar. That way you don't have to smile now, cry later. There's no crash and there's no shame and regret. But there are games. I'm over here trying to get that New Year body. I can't be eating sugar for breakfast. It's bad enough I don't even eat breakfast because I wake up at 11. But you already know I'm eating Magic Spoon for lunch. lunch. It's my pre-workout. It's my during workout. 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving. Only 140 calories per serving. Keto friendly, gluten free, grain free, soy free, low carb, and best of all,
It's not habit forming.
well, I don't know if that's completely true because I can't stop eating it. Click the link below to get some Magic Spoon cereal so that you could accomplish your health goals in the new year. Come up on a variety pack and try it today. And don't forget to use the promo code Mexican Martial Arts at checkout to get $5 off any order. Or go to magicspoon.com/Mexican Martial Arts. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money. No questions asked. Besides, what's wrong with you? They won't say that, but they should. So click the link below and use the code Mexican Martial Arts for $5 off. Or go to magicspoon.com/Mexican Martial Arts to save $5 today. My favorite's the frosted. And I want to ask what's your favorite, but you gotta buy some first. Ironically, Ngannou was making Ciryl eat the canvas. And Ciryl didn't want to be rude, so he returned the favor. And he was trying to feed Ngannou that elbow sopa. But Ngannou's a picky eater, so he said no thank you. And he went right into another takedown while stuck in a Kimura. And he flexed right out of it. Gane trapped the leg, so Ngannou pressed him into the canvas and landed a couple of shots. Gane sat down against the cage and Ngannou told him, "That's as far as you go, homie." You might think the most shocking part of this fight was that all of a sudden Ngannou was fighting like Curtis Blades. But that doesn't even compare to what happened in the corner after round 3. The groundwork wasn't a part of the game plan. Some people thought he came in with the knee pads because he was trying to wrestle, Steiner Brothers style. But those were just because of his injuries. Sure, his wrestling got better, but that doesn't mean it was part of the strategy. Just because you're a good wrestler doesn't mean you have to use it. Just as Metal. I'm gonna need a moment. And there was another statement from the corner that had me do a double take. And I was trying to find out if Ngannou maybe had Joshua Fabia in his corner.
Mike Tyson head movement side to side.
Do you understand what this means? We may be witnessing Ngannou in his final form right here. He's a man without a functioning corner. He's operating solely off of that flow state. It was like if I was watching a Mind Smash video.
YOLO.
And then you got Gane over here with these little pitter-patter kicks, acting like he's gonna do something. They did 0 damage. It was like back in the day when I was kicking Flacco. And the commentators realized that the judges probably weren't gonna be impressed.
How do you score that whenever it's just kind of slapping the leg with the kick?
It's not hurting him.
But either way, there's something that we have to acknowledge about the UFC scoring.
It doesn't matter.
The UFC scoring matters about as much as the UFC rankings matter. That's why I'm not gonna get worked up about Moreno getting robbed. Even though Joe Rogan said that Moreno got robbed with the expression on his face. And Adesanya said that he won too.
Nah, it's Moreno. Wow.
Now, I don't particularly care what either of those fools think, but I know a lot of you might put some weight into their opinions. I'm not gonna cry about it though, because when it comes to the scoring, literally any fight can go in the wrong direction. So Ngannou wanted to do anything he could to tip the scale because he needed to make a point. And he had his eyes set on that victory. Just like Ariane had her eyes set on Gane. And like Dana had his eyes set on Ngannou. In case you forgot. So he went for another takedown. And again, he did not just lay on top of him. It was Gane who was trying to create the stalemate by holding on to his wrist and not doing anything with it. So Ngannou was like, all right, if you don't want to do work, then let's get back up so I could put you back down again. He immediately started looking for the mount. Gane was trying to do work with his leg, but then he said Chale and started squeezing again. Then he eased up because he was thinking about some ground and pound, but Gane slid toward the fence with the quickness. Some people think an illegal knee took place right here. I've watched the footage over and over because I thought the same thing at first. Well, it's not illegal. The knee was landed on the solar plexus. And although some of Ngannou's thigh meat did graze Gane's face, no rules were broken, except bro code. Ngannou continued trying his best to put in work, but Gane kept holding on to that wrist. And Gane's coach was holding on to a dream.
Ciryl, we cannot lose the fight. It's impossible. We cannot lose this fight. It's impossible.
After a decent elbow and a takedown early in the 5th round, The fight was Gane's to lose, and he did just that. He tried leg locking someone whose legs could probably leg lock someone. But you have to consider he was under a lot of pressure, because for a moment it looked like Ngannou was gonna do a triangle choke on him. Imagine getting caught up in one of those. You think fools get lost in a Bermuda Triangle. So he tried getting the heel hook because he figured he had done it in the past, so maybe he could do it again. But if that's how things worked, I'd be making videos with Flacco right now. I won't forget you, fool. Well, you already know by now that it didn't work out. He kept trying his best to lock it in, but Francis thought that he was just trying to give him that deep tissue, so he wasn't even tripping. Gane tried one more time, but it ended up looking like some kind of weird partner stretch. And frankly, Ngannou seemed like he could go much farther. Being that he was now all stretched out, Francis decided that it was time to get back on top. And Ciryl tried to distract him by, doing something weird with his shorts. Ngannou didn't appreciate that, so he socked him and put the squeeze on. Gane wiggled out of it and found himself in a guillotine, which he was able to reverse. But he wasn't able to reverse all those bad decisions, and Francis would take control from this point on. He got the wrist, trapped the leg, and threw hands. Maybe I missed the part where he was just laying on top of him. You could tell by looking at these fools that they both know who won. And you could tell by looking at Gane's trainer that someone needs to call Rob from McDojo Life. And I thought Ngannou was the predator. Fools start touching me like that, it's gonna be round 6. Even after a fight like this, with all of us being able to witness the birth of the African GSP, the focus is on Dana White. He didn't put the belt on him, and he wasn't at the press conference. But what a lot of people don't realize is that he wasn't even at the fight. You can see him right here earlier in the night, but he was never at the main event. People were thinking that he ran out of the building right after the decision, like if he was Colby Covington, but he had already did. Then he refused to go because he already knew that Ngannou was smashed, and he was mad about it. Was his vertigo acting up? Was he mad at ESPN because they raised the prices, and now he looked back because the numbers tanked, and that this event made more than 16 times less than Fury versus Wilder 3, which no one even wanted to see? Is he boycotting UFC events because he's mad that Moreno got robbed? Was he out collecting money because now he's gonna have to pay Francis? Either way, Ngannou thinks it's a Dana White power play.
He went to like a power position.
But he wasn't phased. And if you thought he was scary in the cage, then you haven't seen him laugh. It's so intimidating that John Morgan isn't even showing up at the press conferences anymore.
Oscar, where you at?
I'm at the back here.
As far as I'm confirmed, there was no first question. Ngannou reiterated that it wasn't even his intention to grapple. It was a plan B because he was injured. He beat Gane with his plan B. I know what you're thinking. Gane didn't even lose though. Even Gane knew he lost.
And I knew you won this fight.
But I understand that you're in denial right now, and it causes people to say and do some crazy things, which is why Dana White cut the feed of the post-fight press conference like if he was Michael Scott. Where does Ngannou and Dana White go from here? Has there been as much irreversible damage to their relationship as there has been to Ngannou's knees? Is the UFC gonna sue him? Is Dana White gonna make the best of the situation and just embrace his dominant champion like Joe Rogan did with that one girl? Is he gonna let Francis box and that he could kill 2 Pauls with 1 fool? This situation has more cliffhangers than Cobra Kai. Now that you mentioned Cobra Kai, I recently did a video about it, and you should scope it out, link down below. Do you know that Ngannou won? Or are you still clinging to a scoring criteria that's about as relevant as tap out? Let me know down below. Shout out to Magic Spoon for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to use the promo code Mexican Martial Arts at checkout to get $5 off any order. Or go to magicspoon.com/Mexican Martial Arts. Thank you for watching Mexican Martial Arts. Appreciate it. Good looking out. Lay. I got the magic spoon. I know if I could eat once, I could eat twice. But either way, there's something that we have to acknowledge about the UFC scoring. It doesn't matter. Oh, Marilena. Oh, Marilena. And I thought Ngannou was the predator. If you enjoyed this video, then please share it so much that all your friends get annoyed. And then click on all the stuff below that helps the video. Thank you.